But here we are once again with another controversial moment. As again, there was a 90-second video that was posted earlier this week on Senator Slotkin's X account, and in it, 6 lawmakers. That's right. There was Mark Kelly from Arizona. There was Jason Crow, Chris DeLuzia, Maggie Goodlander, and Chrissy Holahan, who said directly to service members, whom Slotkin acknowledged are under enormous stress and pressure right now, to defy these orders.
I'm Senator Elissa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Holahan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
against American citizens. Like us, you all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
But from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
you must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up the ship. Of course, looking at this video, what I think is interesting also is they say, we have your backs. Well, what does that mean?
Nothing.
Exactly nothing. So as Jordan said, very concerning.
They can't go get you out of military prison when you've defied your commander.
And when they specifically don't mention anything.
Right.
No,
And that's
they
the-
don't
there's
even
not-
hint at like what the
they're talking
illegal
about.
orders are.
No.
And I think that's part of the biggest problem. They even say right now the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home. And I think maybe they should be a little bit more introspective because the Commander-in-Chief Clause, Article 2, Section 2 of the United States Constitution says the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces is the President of the United States. When Congress, which has the power to declare war, is saying that now they are the judge and jury of what they would consider legal or illegal orders is a big problem, sowing seeds of doubt in these service members, which could create a constitutional crisis.
And don't forget that under Congress's own rules, a president can act for 30 and then an additional 30 days, so up to 60 days with military force without Congress intervening. He doesn't have to brief Congress or get the support of Congress. So you've got 60 days as president to act as commander-in-chief without any check because you have to be ready as president of the United States to deal with threats to the country that are immediate. You don't have time to go to Congress and have a debate over it. That's why you have the 60-day, 30-day plus 30-day provision. So Congress has even delegated more authority to the commander-in-chief to carry out military action.
And before we get to a call, I do want to point out one thing here as well, that they start off at the beginning saying that they are addressing not just the military, but the intelligence community as well.
Bizarre.
And the irony of that, which I think it's no secret to anyone that the intelligence community operates in a gray area. And if they're now telling even the intelligence community to defy what they would consider an illegal order, where were these individuals, these senators, when the intelligence community was fabricating Russiagate? Where were these senators and congressmen when that was going on, when they were using and weaponizing intelligence against a sitting president of the United States, saying, hey, you can refuse an illegal order of the CIA director? They were nowhere to be found. It's because they don't like President Trump that they're using this vague illegal order language to try and sow doubt and create a true crisis. If the military you can't trust to follow orders, then you cannot trust that you are going to be safe as a nation.
How many of them were working in intelligence when they were certain there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and then how many of them were troops that followed those orders into Iraq when we never found those weapons of mass destruction? And yet, are they going to then say that those presidents that kept that going, which, by the way, wasn't just President Bush, but President Obama as well, Were they violating military code of law by continuing those conflicts in Iraq?
Well,
I mean, this is why it gets ridiculous when they make these broad statements.
Because prison time is involved. But when you talk about even just your boss in any job, if you have an order given from your boss, you do it. If you don't, there are consequences for that. Of course, consequences a bit more extreme. We're talking about wartime.
It's so absurd, and it's so generic.
Well, President Trump certainly is.
Yeah, I mean, it's so. Yeah, I mean, President Trump threatened that you do this and you've committed treason and you
know
can
what
be
comes with that.
executed.
Yeah.
I mean, and the truth is, you're risking things like that depending on what level you're at. If you start refusing to carry out orders and you have to be taken out by military police, put into a brig, and then prosecuted by the Uniform Court of Military Justice, which, by the way, they try to make it look like, hey, we have our own legal system. That legal system, because when you join the U.S. military, you give up many of your rights under the Constitution. That is a much tougher system to be found not guilty than in the regular civilian system for a reason. You are there to carry out acts of deadly force, and that's why the chain of command is so important. Well, that you have to, and you also have to have faith in that chain of command. I mean, you know what they're really doing is, by this ad, is they are trying to kind of pull the wind out of what has been a resurgence in people joining the U.S. military because they believe that the Department of War now actually has their back in being soldiers.
Well, and that's the entire shift in the mindset of being war fighters, of doing what the military was designed to do to protect this nation. They are trying to undermine the confidence in that. Jordan, you pointed out, recruitment in the military is at an all-time high because Pete Hegseth and the president have refocused the military on their core mission instead of all the ancillary stuff that was getting caught up in the progressive agenda for using our military. But Bill, to your point also, many Republicans have been speaking out on this. I mean, even the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said that it was wildly inappropriate. And think of the threat that it is to our national security and what it means for our institution, meaning both the damage they're doing to Congress as well as the threat to national security by undermining that very trust that Americans have in their military, that the commander-in-chief has in the military to follow orders. The whole thing sets up a precedent that is unfathomable. I never thought I would see members of Congress and members of the Senate that are veterans themselves sit there and say something so wildly reckless, trying to undermine the trust of those that have enlisted to serve our country in their chain of command. It's shocking.
It's not like this is some new thing.
Yeah.
If you really feel this way, there's a process
it's part
to
of
go
the duty
through.
to say, that you aren't going to do that. But of course, when they're saying it, it's politicized.
Well, and I think the irony here, when Jordan brought up, the weapons of mass destruction with the Iraq War, you think about the drone campaign that Barack Obama had that were questioned by many on the left, even if it were outside the authorization and use of military force that was in place. There was an American citizen that wasn't even a targeted terrorist that was killed by a drone strike. That would have been, on the face of it, an illegal order. Where were these members of the military then? You think of all of the things. And the irony, too, that one of them, Maggie Goodlander, who's the representative from New Hampshire, her husband is Jake Sullivan. I mean, the fact that she has the audacity to stand there and be like, I am the moral authority to tell the entire United States military, hey, you can defy an order. When Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor for Joe Biden, as well as worked high up in the government within the Obama administration.
I'd love to see his response to that if a bunch of Republicans ran that ad while he was national security advisor. Say, Jake Sullivan, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So whatever he's advising Biden, and Biden doesn't know what's going on, don't do it. I mean, imagine the chaos that would have caused in the U.S. military. And you know why that didn't happen? Because Republicans have more respect for our U.S. military than Democrats, even the ones who serve in it, because they feel like they know better than their leaders.
And you know what? If that had happened during the Biden administration, we would have spoken out against it.
Yes.
Because it undermines the very core principle of the commander-in-chief clause of Article 2, Section 2.
You start doing that, the Constitution starts meaning less and less and less.